Hey guys, it's me again, and I have one more deck profile that I'm going to be showing you in this string of videos. Yes, one more deck profile. And in this one, we're going to be talking about a clan that is probably the biggest bandwagon clan in the game, Shadow Paladin. Now, you guys have always known my policy with Shadow Paladins. I have my own crazy builds of it that I play specifically for fun. And I'm probably going to get destroyed in the comment section for this video because there's a couple of cards I finally started trying out in this deck, but it's also because G Guardians are a thing now, and it actually makes the cards in this deck a whole lot more balanced, but I will get into my reasoning for why I'm finally willing to use certain cards in this deck and my certain hatred for them. So anyway, here we go. So for the starting Vanguard, we are playing Bassinet Knight Oscar. So, Bassinet Knight Oscar. He is the new starting Vanguard for Shadow Paladin, specifically my favorite Shadow Paladin, Claret Sword. His ability is Generation Break 1, put this unit card into your soul. If you have a Vanguard with Claret Sword in its card name, search your deck for one grade 1 card, reveal it to your opponent, shuffle the rest of your deck, then put that card on the top of your deck. Then if you put a card on top of your deck with this skill, countercharge 1. So you can essentially search out any grade 1 that you want. So that's cool. 9 times out of 10 you're just going to fetch your trusty Karma Collector or your Perfect Guard G. And I also tech one copy of Promising Knight David, because Shadow Paladin still revolves around sacking off your own units, and, having a unit that you can call out to sack off and count as 2 tributes is always something fun to have. So he's not the starting Vanguard, he is just in here to be called out to be paid for with a cost. So for the rest of the grade zeros, we play 4 Taboo Mage Kafar, which is the Claret Sword critical trigger. Whenever your Claret Sword Vanguard attacks, place this unit in your soul. It gets 5,000 power, and you get to draw 1 free card, so that's good. Then we play 4 of my favorite critical trigger for Shadow Paladin, Death Feather Eagle, because he's an eagle, and he's cool looking. And for the new trigger for this deck that came to us in set 6 is Mage of the Rogue Eye Arger, which is the stand trigger. Now this card is absolutely essential for Shadow Paladins now, because it always guarantees that you will have sack bait. So its ability is Generation Break 1. When you are retiring rear guards for the cost of your unit's ability, retiring this unit may be regarded as retiring 2 rear guards. And then his other skill is, when this unit is put into the drop zone from the rear guard for the cost of a unit's ability, return this card to your deck and shuffle your deck. So it's going to continue to recycle so you can continually use it. Fun. Then we play 4 of the most adorable heal trigger in the world, Flat Bow, a little black Labrador puppy. So, because every deck deserves a little bit of cute in it, right? I don't know. So, we play 8 crit, 4 stand, 4 heal. We play 4 copies of Karma Collector. This is our Perfect Guard G. Whenever we use it, if there's another copy of it in the drop zone, we get to countercharge 1, because this is essential for Shadow Paladin because they counterblast quite a lot. Next, we play 3 copies of Cherishing Knight Branwyn. This is our Shadow Paladin Stride fodder. When it's discarded from our hand, it is treated as a grade 3. And also we can use it to search out our Claret Sword Dragon, who is our leading card for the deck. Next, we play 3 copies of Abyss Summoner. Abyss Summoner. Ability, Generation Break 1, and once a turn, when your other rear guard is put into the drop zone for the cost of your unit's ability, if you have a Vanguard with Claret, Sword, Dragon in its card name, you may countercharge 1, soul charge 1, and this unit gets plus 3k until the end of battle. So this skill is going to help you even with more damage on flipping power, which is always nice. Then we play 2 copies of... Whoops. Then we play 2 copies of Dark Quartz Dragon. Dark Quartz ability. When this unit is placed on rear guard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Claret, Sword, Dragon in its card name, choose one of your Vanguards until, and this unit gets plus 3,000 power. As you can tell just from all the cards, Claret Sword is the main thing in this deck. It is by far my favorite Shadow Paladin, and since the new episode for this week that'll be released for Season 7 has Kanzaki in it, I'm hoping we will get some more Claret Sword support, maybe a Claret Sword Stride. We can hope, right? And then for the last grade 1 is we play 2 copies of Blackwing's Swordbreaker. When this unit is called from the deck, Soul Blast 1, and draw 1 free card. So, drawing free cards is fun. Next, for grade 2s, we're playing 4 copies of Knight of Brawn Grozny. I'm still playing this card because he is awesome. Because of all the grade 1s and stuff that you superior call, because of your Claret Sword, so it makes sense to still use it. His ability is Generation Break 1. When any unit with a grade less than this unit is placed on the rear guard, so any grade 1 or 0 unit, this unit gets plus 3,000 power, so it does stack. So if you call 3 grade 1s or 0s on your field, he gains 9,000 power, so he can get big pretty quick. Next, we play 3 copies of the new card Grey Mew. This Black Panther may look cute, but he is pretty mean. When this unit is placed on the rear guard, you may Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. If you have a Vanguard with Claret, Sword, Dragon in its card name, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for a grade 1 or less card, call it to rear guard, shuffle your deck, and this unit gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So it gets you more grade 1 superior calls, which is always nice. Then we play 2 copies of Fierce Bow. Fierce Bow is really good because we're always going to be sacking off units on our board, so his effect is always going to be live. His ability is Generation Break 1. During your turn, if the number of rear guards in your back row is 1 or less, this unit gets plus 2,000 power. And the skill of, when this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, you may Soul Charge 1 and turn 1 card from your damage zone face up. So it lets you Countercharge 1 and Soul Charge 1. So, not bad. And for the last grade 2 slot, I play 2 copies of Knight of Solemnity Balberith, which is just 2 of the Shadow Paladin Generation Break 1 12k attackers, just for some more power. So, essentially, all my grade 2s have a way of gaining power to make them bigger, which is what I did on purpose because I like having big columns. Grade 3s, I still only play 7 in this deck, and for the first one, should come as no surprise, we are playing 4 copies of the awesome Supremacy Black Dragon, Claret Sword Dragon. His skill is Generation Break 2. Choose 2 of your rear guards, sack them off, and this unit gains plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical. So if you can't stride and you have one of those handy-dandy stand triggers in your hand, you can just swing for 21 and a crit real easy now. So Claret Sword's Generation Break skill is now really, really easy to use, which is nice. But his stride skill is where his real MVP status comes into effect. It's during your turn. When your G unit strides on this, you may pay a cost. If you do, of Counterblast 1, search your deck for a grade 1 or less card, call it to rear guard, shuffle your deck, and that unit gains plus 2,000 power. So if you're going to be calling any unit in your stride deck that requires heavy cost, you can call out one of your stand triggers. If you haven't used David yet, you can call him out. So, I mean, you have options. if you can see where this deck is going, you might be able to figure out what's left. For the last grade 3, I have finally decided to play this card because it does make solid sense as the backup, even though I will always run Claret's Sword over this unit every single time. But if you manage to get into this, you can still make use of some certain cards. So we play 3 copies of Blaster Dark Diablo. I'm still not the biggest fan of the Diablo series. I'm just not, because of the amount of fanboy attention it got and how many people flock to Shadow Paladin just because it wins, and I still despise people when they do that because it shows. I realize in the end, guys, it's a game, but be creative. Don't follow everybody. Build your own decks. I'm sorry. I get criticized a lot for that, and you know what? I'll take it. I don't care what other people think, honestly. But in the end, I think it's better when you build your own deck. Now, I'm not saying there aren't some decks that you have built or I have built that aren't similar to others, because there's only so many ways you can build your decks. But I think it's better that you build the deck yourself instead of just seeing someone else's build that won and then copying it for the sake of copying it. There is a difference if you really think about it, and you don't, get into that, mindset of, no, it's not. But I'm not going to get, we've talked about that before. And those of you who have listened to my side and understood, I really appreciate it. But, it is what it is, and I'm not going to beat that dead horse any more than it already has been beaten. So, sorry for that image. So Blaster Dark Diablo, Generation Break 2. When you are paying the cost for Stride, if the G unit that you're striding has Blaster in its card name, any card that you discard for the cost becomes +3 to the grade. So essentially discard anything in Stride for free. Yay. Well, not free, but you know what I mean. And then his other skill is Auto. During your turn, when your Dark Dragon, Phantom Blaster Diablo, strides on this card, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So it, does what Diablo is best at. So, but like I said, guys, Blaster Dark Diablo is only a backup in this deck. This deck is 99.9% circled around Claret's Sword. He is my favorite Shadow Paladin, period. Over Abyss, over Raging Form, all of them. Claret's Sword, to me, is just absolutely awesome. It's a black dragon that carries a sword that is stained with the blood of his enemies. That is just screams cool to me. I don't know why, but the fact that Claret's Sword calls grade 1s, which is insane in my opinion, gets you bonuses for doing so, and a deck that revolves around it. I just really enjoy it. And plus, Claret's Sword's artwork is just the moon up here, and the way that the artist designed him. Whoever designed Claret's Sword did absolutely beautifully. Amazing. So, but okay, for the Stride Zone, this is obviously going to change quite a bit when, and I'm dropping cards. This is going to change quite a bit when the 16-card G-Zone becomes a thing, so I will explain what will change. 4 copies of still the best first-turn Stride in the game, except for maybe Sanctuary Guard Regali. 4 copies of Supremacy Black Dragon, Aura Geyser Dragon. If there is any card out there that is higher on my favorite Shadow Paladin list than Claret's Sword Dragon, it would be this card. I just love how Aura Geyser looks with his ice blue sword. It just looks absolutely insanely cool. And it's a dragon, so it already is piquing my interest there, because I love dragons. His ability, and what makes him so stupid as a first-turn Stride, is Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. Choose a face-down card, Supremacy Black Dragon or Geyser Dragon from your G-Zone. Turn it face up and choose 2 of your rear guards and kill them off. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have paid the cost, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. This unit gets plus 5,000 for each grade 1 or less card revealed with this card effect until the end of turn, and put the cards revealed with this card's effect into your hand. So, it gets you 2 free cards for pretty much nothing. And now, because of Oscar, you can pretty much guarantee yourself a perfect guard in your hand. So, hooray. Orgeyser, in any Shadow Paladin G-Zone, he should be run at 4. I'm not going to debate that at all. Then for the rest, we play 2 copies of Dark Dragon Spectral Blaster Diablo. I will admit I do like this card because I did play Spectral Duke, and that's what this card is based off of. We all know Spectral Duke. It was the first major Vanguard tournament that was held. God, I don't even remember how long ago that was. Spectral Duke Dragon is what won that year, and it just, that's where pretty much the popularity of this game started. And I built Spectral Duke just because Ren Suzukamori, who uses him in the show, Ren has always been one of my favorite characters, and Spectral Duke was a gold paladin, and I was building every gold paladin deck in existence back then because I thought all of them looked completely badass, and they still do. And it's nice to see Spectral Duke, essentially, to come back. Personally, I wish they would have kept Spectral Duke variant in Gold Paladin, because I think that's what made him cool, and made a Legion with him or something, but that's just me. But Spectral Diablo is still pretty cool for what he does. So his ability is Act ability, Soul Blast 1, choose a face-down card from your G-Zone and turn it face up, and choose one of your rear guards and retire it. Until the end of the turn, this unit gains the ability of, once per turn, Generation Break 3, Counterblast 2, and choose 2 of your rear guards and retire them. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit, and this unit's drive gets -2 until the end of turn. And if you have a heart card with Diablo in its card name, search your deck for a grade 1 card, call its rear guard, and shuffle your deck. So it's essentially a restanding Vanguard, basically. And that's always nice, right? So restanding Vanguards are fun because we get more attacks, and it helps us win games, and it pisses off our opponent. So for the last Stride unit, here you go. Destroy me in the comment section because I've pretty much destroyed this card, but because of, well, I'll get to that here in a second. 2 copies of Dark Dragon Phantom Blaster Diablo. So go ahead. For those of you who have pretty much compared me to the spawn of Satan for not playing this card and hating this card as much as I still do, go ahead. Doesn't bother me any. But Spectral, not Spectral, Phantom Blaster Diablo is still the biggest, even with G-Guardians, guys, I'm sorry, I do not like this card. I do not like this card. With G-Guardians, he becomes fair, which is the only reason I'll bring myself to play him. But I don't like this card for the main reason of, if your opponent does not, well, let me read him first, just for argument's sake. Even though I'm pretty sure I don't have to do that. If the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, you may counterblast 1 and choose a face-down card called Dark Dragon Phantom Blaster Diablo in your G-Zone, turn it face up. This unit gets plus 10,000 and plus 1 critical, and the skill of, choose 3 of your rear guards and retire them when this unit attacks a Vanguard. If you may pay the cost. If you do, which is, sacking the 3 rear guards, if you do, your opponent may choose up to 2 of his or her rear guards and retire them. If you retire 2 of your own rear guards with this skill, and your opponent does not retire any rear guards, your opponent cannot call guards from their hand to the Guardian Circle. Translation: if your opponent does not sacrifice 2 of their own units, they can't do shit. They can't guard it, they can't perfect guard it, they can't do anything except sit there and take it. And I do not... Cards like that are unhealthy for the game. I have said this time and time again. I do not like combos or cards that force your opponent to where they literally just can't do anything. They sit there and stare at you going, I don't know why you're waiting for me to say no guard. I can't do anything because this card is stupid. But G Guardians make this card at least balanced now because you can discard a heal trigger and call out your G Guardian and at least protect you that way. So it's at least balanced now, but I am still, if you're one, I still have a strong hatred for this card because, and I have a strong hatred for all cards that fall into this category. Diablo, the Maelstrom combo with a critical trigger that says you can't guard, period. Any card like that, except with the exception of Transcore Dragon, because Transcore, your opponent, all they have to do is discard one card, which is not that big a deal, but if you want to count it, go ahead. I don't like cards and combos that tell your opponent, hey, guess what? You can't do nothing. That is unhealthy for the game. That is unhealthy for the player base. It just is. And there are people who flock to this card because it's an easy win. And I don't agree with that. I mean, I'm sorry. I like to earn my wins, and cards like this just, I'm sorry, they take the fun out of the game. And I realize that that might sound, I guess too dramatic because this is just a game, but I'm sorry. I mean, the point of the game is for both players to have fun, and cards like this that just tell your opponent, hey, sorry, you can't play anymore because this card's broke and has a skill that just says, hey, guess what, you can't do anything. Like I said, I just don't find it fair, and I will continue to say that, and I will continue to have that philosophy. It's just not balanced. I'm sorry. But anyway. So anyway, guys, that is my Claret sword build with a skosh of the Diablo stuff because some people were asking, okay, we know you hate Diablo with a burning passion. But if you had, if someone put a gun to your head and forced you to build the deck, how would you build it? Like this. It still centers around Claret Sword Dragon and the Diablo engine as an afterthought. Because you can still stride into this guy over Claret Sword, and you don't have to have a Diablo Heart to kick off that skill. And so, true, you won't get to pop off a rear guard, but, who cares? You're still going to be swinging for 36 and a crit with a boost. I mean, isn't that enough? So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I have to say about this deck. Shadow Paladin, it hasn't changed a bit, and I find that kind of boring because for the last 2 years, it's pretty much just revolved around Abyss, and Diablo. That's pretty much it. That's why I play Claret Sword. I don't know why so many people hate Claret Sword. It's actually a pretty cheap card because so many people hate it. And that's fine. I know there are people like my friend Siren on here who she loves Claret Sword to pieces. It's nice to see other people beside me love the card because no one likes to feel like they're the loner, right? But in all honesty, even if I was, I wouldn't change it because I enjoy the deck for what it is. It's a lot of fun for me to play, and I enjoy it. So, and that's, as I've always preached to you guys countless times, build decks that make you enjoy playing the game, that you like to play with the cards that you like. And if, some Tom, Dick, and Jerry down the street tells you, that card's terrible, don't change your play style for anybody. Be true to yourself. Play the cards that you like. And, prove to them there's more than one way to build a deck. And, I've done that many occasions. And, it feels good, honestly. So I always encourage you guys to try new things. If you have an idea in your head, don't let your self doubt get in your mind. And say, hey, I have this deck idea here. I think it might work, and then all of a sudden you think about it a little bit, and you go, oh no, everyone's going to say this isn't going to work. It won't work. I don't think it will work. You never know until you try, guys. Build the deck, and if it completely falls on its face, figure out why. Make changes to it. Don't ever think for 1 second that any deck is perfect, because it's not. I butt heads with a lot of people, especially on YouTube, who say, this is the perfect way to build Kagero, this is the perfect way to build Shadow Paladin, this is the perfect way to build this. I mean, there is no perfect way to do anything, guys. Anything. No deck is ever complete. Every deck has its strengths, every deck has its weaknesses, and that's just how it is. And you have to take all that into account when you're building your deck. That's why I've always told you guys, if you have questions about deck building, one of the advantages that I have, and with my team that I'm extremely grateful for, is we have a collection of amazing deck builders. And my friend Sam, for instance, you've seen his deck profiles, you've seen him at tournaments. His best quality is the fact that, other than he's an amazing guy and an amazing friend, he knows how to make some of the best deck combinations ever. And, everybody I've ever met, and that's on my team, I have met so many people that just have so many different ideas about how to build a deck, in so many ways that I never thought of. So I'm not saying the decks I post here, guys, are the perfect build. They're the builds that work for me. And that's why I love helping you guys with your builds. That way, when you send me your deck list and say, hey, this is what I want to do, this is the direction I want to go with this deck, I'm having these problems, here's my deck list, what needs changing, what can I do, what needs fixing. I love doing that with you guys, because it's a way for us to share ideas. And the point of a trading card game in general, and I've made videos about this before, because hang on, guys, I'm going to pick up my screen here for a second. I once did a video, this was maybe a year ago, and someone came to me and said he was being bullied because he played trading card games. And, I kind of just said pretty much, well, some people are just haters, Some people look for ways to knock you down and make you feel bad about yourself just because either they have a pretty boring life themselves, or that's what they find entertaining. And don't let it bug you. Do what you like, and as long as it's not harmful to you or anybody else, who the hell cares what you do? That's why I've always told you guys, when people say, I want to build a deck around this guy, but my friends say the card's terrible, there's no way it'll work. Talk to your friends. I mean, I'm not saying every deck I've ever built, my friends haven't, hammered me and went, this deck won't work, it can't, and I don't know what you see, and all this and that. And that there's a mixture of, one, it's your friends, they're just screwing with you to mess with you, and two, friends you don't always see eye to eye, and that's fine. But at the same time, if they're your friends and you're dedicated to finding a way to make the deck work, they'll support you. And this has happened many occasions. Most recent, when Christian, my teammate, he was playing an abundance of draw triggers in his D-Robos. This was like 2 years ago, and people were coming up to us and saying, why is Christian playing all these draw triggers? Is it really necessary? And it's like, you know what? It doesn't make sense to me, but it's not my deck. And your deck doesn't have to make sense to your friends. It doesn't need to make sense to your opponent. If it wins and you enjoy playing it, that's all that matters. And stick with that. And with that being said, there's also nothing wrong with trying new things. So if if you want to take a suggestion from your friend and try it out, please do it. I mean, I've shared ideas with friends and teammates, and they've shared ideas with me, and some you use, some you don't. It's just part of the game. So if you guys ever have any questions, you can always email me at the team's email site, which you can find conveniently on our homepage, or you can just leave them in the comment section below, and I'm always happy to answer them. I read every single comment that you guys post because your guys' support for me and my team has always been absolutely amazing, and we greatly appreciate it. So anyway, guys, this concludes my Claret sword deck update. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, preguntas, Spanish word for questions if you didn't know that, but please leave them in the comment section below, and I will get around to answering them when I see them. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up this video for me, and I will see you in the next one.